Hi, everybody. Welcome to Immigration Lawyers Podcast, episode number 232. We're with a great guest today, Nandini Nair, a wonderful immigration practitioner who's doing it for a long time and is a real expert in this subject. So we want to talk about how she developed her practice and what she's doing and her thoughts and all that kind of stuff. But before we start, I want to remind everybody that the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine is out. Go to immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com/magazine to get issue 4. It's an all-around issue, talks about humanitarian, employment-based, other stuff, family, all this kind of stuff. 20 articles. It's really an awesome, compilation of content that's really going to help you in your practice. Even have some global migration stuff at Italy and Turkey and the UK, which is going to be helpful. So chock full of information. Check that out. It'll make you a better immigration practitioner. Also want to thank our regular sponsor who sponsors the podcast and the magazine, DocuWise.com, who's the all-in-one form software and management system. Check them out. Go to DocuWise.com/immigration-lawyers-podcast and use the code Immigration Lawyers Podcast to get 10% off their annual plan. At the very least, check them out. Do a trial run. You can maybe switch your firm over to them. It's going to be a really helpful form system at the very least, if not management system and the like. And contact them, talk with them. They're very nice and helpful on everything that they do. With that said, if you have any questions on me, if you want to join the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox Library, if you're a practicing immigration attorney, I open up free, no more subscription system. Just email me and let me know your immigration attorney, your bar number. We'll add you there. A lot of CLEs and good content popping up there. Having said all that, Nandini, so good to see you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, John. I appreciate it.
You got it. So could we start just filling us in, like, how you got into immigration law and what your practice is right now, where you're at, location, size, all that, so people have an idea of where you're come from.
Sure. Well, I'm a partner and co-chair of the Immigration Practice Group at Greenspoon Martyr. My office currently is in Edison, New Jersey. We are going to be moving to Newark in the next couple of months, so that's going to be fun and challenging, and I'm excited for that. So in regard to how I started, honestly, it was just accident. I don't know that, when I went to law school, mind you, I'm dating myself right now, there was no immigration classes, no immigration clinics. So it wasn't like something that I could just be like, oh, I'm interested in it, let me take a class, and went like that. No, I left law school, I finished law school, I came home, I didn't have a job. My parents knew somebody who knew somebody, and he said, okay, they're looking for like a law clerk. Go take it. And I was like, immigration, what? And then I went and started at this small little firm in New York City. And when I walked in, I was just like, I don't know. But once I got into it, I realized how personal it is actually to my life. I'm an immigrant. I'm a first generation immigrant. I came here when I was about 8 years old. And truthfully, I was a green card holder till I was in law school, and I didn't even think about it. And so then from there, I went to another huge law firm that everybody probably knows about. And then I left there after a couple of years and started my own practice. And I did that for about 12, 13 years. And then I decided to kind of come back to big law. And I've been with Greenspoon Martyr about 4 years now, going into my 5th year.
So your firm is a general kind of firm, does a lot of stuff.
It's a multi-services, right? It's a multi-services firm. We have about 20 or more than 20 offices throughout the country. We are, we do litigation, cannabis, labor and employment, immigration, obviously. So we're full services, about 200 or so lawyers. So
it's interesting. Cannabis is its own topic because it's so much money going into that field right now that it's just its own thing that you mentioned it even. The cannabis sector.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. New Jersey just legalized it, I think, or they're working on that. It's a big area. It does not necessarily intersect with immigration, but it's
definitely not. Yeah, hopefully you don't have that.
Yeah, huge area right now. So,
So one thing is you transition and started your own firm. I get a lot of emails from listeners who are on that step, and they kind of come to me for advice and stuff. Just tell me about that thought process and the pains and the thoughts you went through when you opened up your own practice. What went there?
I left a big firm because I just felt like certain things were just not working for my life at that time. Certain ways big law works, and as you are an associate, you have lack of control. That kind of motivated me to leave. Now, I was young. I was a third-year associate. Did I make the smartest decision at that point, walking away from a job? My parents would say no. They were so against that. Immigrant parents don't walk away from a stable job. But it was very hard in the beginning. For many, many years, it was just me. I didn't have an associate. I think at the first 2-3 years, I didn't even have a paralegal. So I did everything. And the funny part is that is still who I am today, where I still continue to do so many things, which maybe other partners don't do. I like to get into the weeds of cases. I like to get my hands dirty. I still, look at approvals. I do my own photocopying. So when I started my own practice, I had to learn a lot very, very quickly. I didn't have a depth of knowledge of immigration. At that time, like I said, a third year, and you have to learn business. Forget just being a lawyer. You have to learn about business, and you have to learn about incorporation, business licenses, billing, if you hire employees, payroll, just so many aspects I had to learn. Sometimes, you're not being a lawyer, you're being a business person, right? You're worrying about all those type of things. So it was extremely hard in the beginning. And you don't have colleagues to be like, hey, go into the next room and be like, what do you guys think? Here's the story. You had to figure things out on your own, and you had to kind of own that decision. So those were some hard days. The first, I want to say 5 years was really, really hard. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. I would encourage anybody who wants to do that to realize that the rewards don't come quickly. It will take time. It will take 24/7 dedication, because that's what I felt like. I worked how many Christmases?
Yeah.
How many holidays? How many vacations, if I even took a vacation? So, you have to want it to make it feel like worthwhile at the end.
And what kind of, when you started, did you have a practice that was going to be general everything, or were you going employment-based direction?
It was just employment-based. I didn't know anything else. That's all. Like, I walked into, that small little firm. It was immigration. And then I went to another firm that was immigration. I didn't know anything else. So I had to do immigration because that's all I knew. And I luckily was able to find a niche field. Obviously, I'm Indian, so I was able to find Indian clients. Technology companies is my specialty. And you build from there. And referrals were my only source of marketing.
Let's pause that. So how did that happen? Was it family members? Did the original 2 clients, like, did you go contact people and say, hey, I'm doing this?
Yeah, it was referrals. It was, I knew a couple of people from the first firm I was there, and they had kind of followed me. And then they were like, oh, you're starting on your own. Okay, let's, come to you. But it was, slow going in the beginning. That first year, I can remember, it wasn't a lot, maybe 2 clients, 3 clients, but you're doing everything. And what I remember my first couple of years is I gave a lot of free consultations, a lot of free advice, a lot of free information, so they would be like, oh, okay, let's call her, because I'm very quick. I was very responsive. And I gave a lot of the stuff out for free. Now, that maybe not a great business model to start with. I was young. I didn't know anything. People call me. I answered their questions. But eventually, I help one person and they're like, oh, go to her. She's good, and it just kind of built from there.
So I feel like the patient there's a development process. Nowadays with online, maybe you could kind of fast forward the advertising maybe, but there's just to create brand recognition and, reliability and respect in the marketplace. It's just time is not anything you get out of, like run away from. It's just, you got to deal with that.
Yeah, it's time, it's effort. There is no magic to this. It is hard work every single day. I remember when I got married, my husband didn't realize how engaged I was into the practice, where I was like, okay, we cannot go on vacation, on our honeymoon where there's no Wi-Fi. Like, you must, like, he wanted to go to like some island. I was like, are you crazy? There's no internet over there. I can't do it. He's like, it's our honeymoon. I'm like, It's 24/7. It was 24/7. Now he knows to look for a Wi-Fi and business office and all of those type of things when we travel. But you know,
And
this
how has it been? Because so you before even you moved into and became partner at this larger firm. I mean, you developed your own practice, hiring. How were the steps, the baby steps towards hiring, and the difficulties in having a team? It just always exists, no matter what size you are.
Yeah, I mean, I continue to face hiring issues now, even in this big firm. It's very difficult. It's I think I started with like a assistant, and that assistant I had to teach everything, and then you bring in somebody else. Hopefully the assistant can teach them some of the stuff that you taught them, and it's just again a building of the team. But in the midst of that, I'm still doing the legal work. I'm still doing the business development. I'm still doing the billing. I'm still doing all of those things. Maybe I could carve out 10% of what I used to do to this assistant. And then you hire somebody else, and now they're going to do 12%. It just builds like that. But the buck always starts with you. Stops. Everything is with you. So the client is always going to be like looking at you, no matter how many people you have underneath you, whether that's your own practice or whether you're partner in a firm. It doesn't matter. It really does just stop with you.
Law in particular is such a weird thing because, like, businesses eventually, the idea is to become a CEO and things operate without you. You can just kind of tune in every once in a while and come in.
Right.
And because I'm hiring now and thinking about how to do that, I'm studying business books about, you got to detach yourself. There's these books that are like, I forgot the names, but they're designed. So, okay, you need to have a technician do this. You need to have like managed person do this. But and then in law, it's just so personal and like it's your bar number and everything. You never really can take yourself out of it. It's you're always in there no matter what. It's not a store at a McDonald's where you could just pop out and place people in there. It seems like law always is going to drag you back in, or else it's going to fall apart in a year or two afterwards.
Absolutely, because this is a licensed profession, right?
Yeah.
This is how serious this occupation is, that the government says you can't do the job unless you pass this test and you have a license, and you have to continue to update yourself, every year or every couple of years. So you have to take that very seriously when you enter this field. But yeah, it always, it is all consuming. It is all consuming,
That's
kind
a lawyer.
of job.
Life.
It's a lawyer. That's what I always tell people. Like when I talk to associates who are like 9 to 5, I'm like, why'd you go to law school? Like you shouldn't go to law school. This is an all-consuming field. If you care about what you're doing and stuff.
Yeah, it's who you are is really your identity. Like excuse me, the Esquire name is like you're a role in society. It's who you are. It's not like a hat you could take off and go home and put it down. It is part of your identity. You're part of the community. You're helping the community. People come to you in time of need. It's like a police officer. Like if you take your badge off and go to sleep, you're still a police officer. If something happens, or a firefighter, you're the one it's just part of who you are. And so you can't forget that. That's really true.
I say this to my kids. I'm an officer of the court. It doesn't matter, when it is, and I feel it in my bones. And I think that also permeates into my personal life of when I look at things, I'm looking at risk mitigation, right? For whatever silly things it is, whether, it's going on vacation or college applications for my older ones, like you take that personality traits as a lawyer and it does bleed into your personal life. And if you're a good lawyer, that's who you are.
Yeah, you can't. So it's interesting. It's not something you could just you can't cut it off if you want to be a good lawyer. So you got to. That's something that's really talked about in law school, and that's why so many lawyers are either dissatisfied or they leave the field because that's just part of it. If you're a lawyer, you're a lawyer. That's just the way it is. You can't get around it. So right now, you're very kind in the real midst of H-1B cap season, and right about the show. How's that been treating you?
Registration is so annoying. I cannot tell you how much I hate registration. I understand the government's reasoning for creating this system. I get it. Do I think it's effective? No, I do not. Because guess what? We are in a perpetual cycle of H-1Bs. Previous to this registration, you had Hell Month, March. You're up half the night. Your team is up, but you're done. You get it out April. Okay, and you sit and wait. this is what we are like, but we had 3 selections that bled into February when we're doing the next season's gap registrations. It's a little ridiculous. So, but we're okay. I mean, I have a good, my team, we're organized. I have the infrastructure down. We know how to do it. And I'm very risk averse. So one of my biggest pet peeves is waiting till the last minute of doing anything. So our goal normally is to finish cap registrations this week, because I always believe Murphy's Law. What will go wrong will go wrong if you wait till the last minute. So, so hopefully we'll be done by the end of this week. But
our firm started to do H-1B this year, and we have one company who still hasn't sent half their stuff, and others we're still doing essentially prepping H-1B just to make sure everything's in order, and we're issues are popping up, but they don't have this or they don't know that document. It's okay, we've been together since December, and why are you waiting till March 1st to finally respond? But that's just the nature of this beast, and that's why one of the reasons I didn't want to do H-1B is because I hate having deadlines, because deadlines make things go really bad, and so those are things that make you lose sleep at night. When there's a Child Status Protection Act issue or a child aging out, we got to get those things, because it's so sensitive, the person's dead if they don't. So that always frustrates me. I try to avoid it, but we have so many clients that want H-1B, so we got to open up this practice area and do it.
You have to. I mean, it's a good area, but you're absolutely right. I tell everybody I have night terrors. I've had night terrors for 20 years because I don't know. Did we miss a deadline? What is it that I don't know? That's my whole always thing. What is it that I don't know? What's coming down that I forgot to do, or my team forgot to do, or and stuff like that. So, but again, it is a good area. I love employment based. I'm done it for so long. I still get that thrill when I get an H approval or an L approval or a perm approval. So I think, for me, I'm really definitely chose the right field, even if it chose me. It just still satisfying, still feels good, and I don't know that most people have that in their occupation, right? That they still 22 years later, they still feel good when they have a little win.
I think it's a unique amongst lawyers, in particular immigration law. There's people who get burned out and frustrated, especially if you do removal and stuff. But the percentage of people who love what they do and they're so into it, where all they think about is immigration law all day, every day. I've been talking to immigration law every second for the last 12, 14 years. And I still say it doesn't get boring. I'm really, for me, my background is the same as you. Have found me. And I was wow, I'm so lucky that I found something that just clicks. It's creative, puzzle solving. You're dealing with interesting people, or really helping people change their lives. It's you see your work. I'm sure you see this too, especially when you do employment based. You see your clients in the news and newspapers, and companies wow, I was part of that. It's not in the paper, but my client is doing that to help them in their journey.
It's a thrill. I love adjustment cases. I mean, I have a lot of Indian population, right? So they've been waiting 10 years or a decade to file. And when they file and they finally get that green card, I mean, you should see some of the emails I get. They're just so heart-wrenching. They're just so happy and grateful. And you just feel wow, I was part of that. I was part of that. I did it right for somebody. I did right by them, and stuff. And that is the reason I keep staying in this area and not branching out or not doing anything else, because maybe selfishly, I love that part, that glory, that, yes, got it for them and stuff.
Indian clients in particular in the adjustment process are people who are tortured the most. And I see my Indian adjustment, because I have people that they do I-140 with the company, the lawyer, but they come for adjustment. And even when there's a biometric claim, when they get the receipts, they're so worried. And I just say, I'm with them because I understand, they've been stuck in a job. Maybe they want to be there. They're probably getting paid less because they could immediately switch jobs and get paid twice as much in the tech sector. They're okay, we got to finish this. And then it really is you're a doctor curing them of a disease. It's such a special relationship that you develop with them. And how is the situation right now with consular processing in India? Have they opened up, or how are you seeing it going there?
I mean, again, I think it's October 2022, first open appointment right now. So obviously that's far. I think some of them are requesting the emergency appointments. Some are getting through, some are not. It's still a very difficult thing. What I've seen, though, is the ones that are gotten the appointments are getting a lot of 221Gs now.
Really?
So, yes. I'm very surprised with what's going on. It seems to have picked up. And so I'm struggling with a lot of my clients to help them through those requests that they're getting and things like that. But just like, you know, the world shut down, right? 2 years ago, almost to the day, or what are we, like a week out from, and I am thinking on a reasonable expectation, we are going to go 3 years more of kind of clearing up this backlog. I can't imagine this is going to get remedied any sooner than that. So it's a tough situation because people haven't traveled. They haven't seen their families, you know? So I sympathize so much with them. That's why when somebody does get their green card, it's like, the first thing most of them do, I can tell you, is like, I love it. They're like, okay, spring break or summer, let's plan our trip back home. You know, and just a joy for them to be able to travel without having to fear of not being able to come back in.
Yeah, I've been hesitant. I have like H-1B adjustment cases. You know, their adjustment of H-1B, and I was paranoid about because they want to travel. They've you know, they're H-1B, so they're not going to abandon their case, but they have to get a new visa. And I was really worried that if they go and the embassy just all of a sudden shuts down, doesn't. But I asked a lot of colleagues, they know India's, they're issuing the H-1B visa. So I'm like, okay, go. But it's just this paranoia. If you go and they shut down, they don't issue the H-1B, you're stuck out there. And when are you going to come back for your job and all this kind of stuff? It makes me so paranoid.
It's not the shutdown. It's the 221Gs. It's the consulates kicking it back and, you know, reviews. Those are what I'm seeing the stumbling blocks for them. Obviously, if they're eligible for Dropbox, do the Dropbox. But again, India is notorious for issues. It's not. It's one of the hardest consulates, especially Chennai. Everybody knows this. And I got a lot going through Chennai, you know. So it's just nerve-wracking for them. So,
like for this particular case, you know, we filed October 2020, and they just got the biometrics this week, so a year and a half to get biometrics. But like the ones 6 months before that, we're getting like I think it was in 2019, 2020. They were jumping and getting these approved. So I'm like, okay, it's gonna be good. But a year and a half just got biometrics, still no approval for the adjustment. It's gonna get approved because it's clean, but it's like at least give the advanced parole or just make it easy for us. You know, I'm not sure why this is happening. It's just so inconsistent.
It is, and that is what's very frustrating. It's very frustrating to explain to clients because they'll have their, you know, I just had an email, like I want to say even this morning, like I haven't gotten this, and this. My friend got this, you know, they're, you know, and the minute they start with my friend, just like, you know, but there's no consistency. This is what I tell everybody. Immigration, I wish I could give you a ABC answer. It's not. It doesn't work like that. Can I tell you that, you know, two people can file the exact same thing at the exact same time with the exact same service center with the exact same qualifications and I can get two approvals? No. I mean, is it 10 times better than it was with Trump? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's still the government.
Yeah. I just got it was a marriage case for Iran. I do a lot of marriage cases out of Iran, and we sent the case to Armenia. The NVC took 3.5 months to do documents to qualify it. So now NVC is taking 3 to 4 months to DQ stuff when it really used to take like a month. And for Iranian case of Armenia, it's taking like a year to get an interview appointment. This one, DQ, a week ago, just this morning, we got the appointment notice to go to the embassy for the interview for this case. And I was like,
wow.
I have, you know, it's nice for this client, but I have like 10 other clients who are waiting. Like,
right.
And it's like, you know, it's unfair. But I mean, I'm happy for him, but it's like these other people are waiting. They're frustrated. And so when they say my friend got it, they'll tell me this stuff. I'm like, no, it's not possible because the embassy's not doing it. Now, even in my own caseload, I'm seeing this massive inconsistency. So that's why I tell them, like, I don't know. They may get administrative processing. Who knows when that's going to happen? You might have to do a lawsuit. Who knows? Like, and it's like I think the clients think I don't know what I'm talking about or something. But I just try to tell them from the very beginning now, like, there's just complete inconsistency. So your friend might have done it. It's completely true. I believe them, but this is just what we're dealing with.
Yeah, it's very it's irrational almost, right? They're not in like first come first serve mode at all. I don't know how they're picking up cases at this time. Half of me fears like, did you lose my older cases? Is that why you're not like acting on that? What's exactly going on? But yeah, that is throughout the service centers. It's throughout NVC. I see it all the time. I'm getting adjustment interviews after 2 months after filing. I'm like, dude, there's a bunch of other cases. Why is this 2 months old case being approved? I mean, I'm happy for them, but it doesn't make sense. Nope, 100% agree. I have adjustment cases that I got approved in like 5 months. I still got my 2020s pending. For a lot of people, I might do their priority dates are current. It's not like it's retrogress. It's not downgrade people, any of that. And it just no rhyme or reason to it. And they're like, can you do something to expedite it? If I could, I would be a billionaire,
Yeah.
So I put a service request and, they clock you out, right? Because they say, oh, it's not past the processing times or, just all of these type of things will happen. And you just don't feel like you're doing your clients just service, right? And they're just sitting there with like a pit in their stomach because they just want movement. They want to get to the end of this journey. And they see other people getting ahead of them, and of course that's so frustrating for them.
I mean, you in particular, you probably have to deal with the EB2 to EB3 downgrade, which turned out to be just the way they played it. Now they're saying, no, we recommend going back to EB2. That itself, it's just so unfair. It's so ridiculous.
It is. And, we've done tons and tons of interfiles back into EB2, this game is just so ridiculous. And then of course, now they decouple the EAD and the advanced parole, right? So now I'm like, I'm so livid about that. That just annoys me. Like, why did you need to do that? It's literally will take you 10 minutes, if not less, to review the advanced parole file and get it out together,
And it's just like, and I'm getting them done in like 2 months after filing. The EAD's coming out right now. I'm like, why did it take you so long for other cases like L2 EADs? Why is it taking a year to get an EAD approved on L2? And now, I mean, they changed it because of the lawsuit. Thank God bless the people who sued them on this.
Right.
But it's like, it's people lost their jobs. I mean, usually a lot of times wives were working and they have to lose their job. And then, it affected the family. It's like, it's so harsh and unnecessarily, like, it just, there might be internal stuff going on, but I just can't see a real rational, fair way that this needed to take that long for an EAD to be approved in the first place.
Right.
And especially renewal.
Right. And that's exactly right. But I think the lack of communication and transparency from the agency is so frustrating. You expected that from the Trump administration. But with Biden, maybe our expectations are inflated. Like I don't know what we all thought, maybe just, a 360-degree turn. But there's some disappointments with this administration. I mean, there's some good things, but and maybe it takes time to move on things, but I just don't understand this decoupling. I'm also frustrated that we have to now go
either. Like you said, just all of a sudden we're getting this, and then later on, Ayla contacts them like, "Yeah, that's what we're doing." So well, you could have told us this. Like it's like because people will travel on that EAD, not understanding that it's not an AP as well, because that's what the norm is. And so I bet a bunch of people abandoned by accident right now. But it's just like. Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead. It's these frustrations we talk about. It just gets blood boiling.
You are 100% right. There's going to be somebody who doesn't pay attention to their card, right? And normally we don't get the cards. It's usually sent to the applicant. We don't want to hold on, get the card, and something happens to us. So we make sure it goes to the applicant on our G28. They're not paying attention to this.
Yeah.
Somebody's not going to pay attention to this, and they're going to travel, and we're about to see some problems.
Yeah.
So, again, no transparency, no advance notice, no information. You can't make policy changes just on the fly, without giving us some heads up, Yeah. By the way, check the card.
It's just at least USCIS.gov update. We're doing this. Just a one-liner, just something. Tell Ayla. Tell something. It's not hard. I mean, what's going on? With the immigration toolbox, I want to build an infrastructure so we kind of push the government on this and have groups and kind of with Ayla and without Ayla, but just talk with us. We won't push you on stuff. Just tell us something simple like this. Give us a heads up. If we need to do a lawsuit to push him to make it a department or a communicative group, whatever is needed, just give us a heads up. It's kind of out of control.
Yeah. I see. This is why do we have to get that far? Why do we have to get this far? Just give us some transparency. Now we're going to see premium processing come into play for I-539s and EADs. Now you're going to force my people to spend more money, because the agency
$500 for an EAD to just be done in, a little bit, not take 10 months. Like that's unfair. It's a lot of money. It's cruel.
It's a lot of money. And it's just really, it's really frustrating. I expected better from the from this administration, and I just feel disappointed on certain things. So.
And just the fact that it was by statute, Congress made the premium processing change, and it still hasn't been executed. The administration did a Federal Register Act that said they're going to do it, but still hasn't happened 2-3 years after the fact. So,
well, I think it's going to come soon, right? Because it cleared OMB, and I think it's about to
institute it for better or for worse. I mean, I think they're going to. It's going to be a 30-day calendar day now instead of or business day, some ridiculous thing. So they made it longer. It's like a backhanded, a nice thing that they did. But it's just hard, and so that's the world we're dealing with. And so I mean, a lot of lawyers who listen are solo, and they're frustrated, so they're like hearing this stuff and some kind of be updated, like, okay, it's just not us who are dealing with this. So it is, these issues do exist. So thanks for coming and talking about it. Anything else you want to leave the audience with about yourself or stuff that's going on in your mind?
No, I mean, I think that, I'm all for, people going to law school, but getting into this field, stepping into maybe doing it on their own or going to a firm. I want to tell everybody when they say, oh, how do you get successful? I said, hustle, man, hustle. That's all there is to this. So I would just leave it to, like, especially to younger practitioners, younger associates, this isn't easy to get to wherever. Success is not that way. But keep pushing, keep striving. It's a great field. It's evolving. It's interesting. It's changing. But I think, it's a good area. And I love to mentor people, and, especially I love to mentor immigrants into this area and to go to law school. That's one of my passions. So, I'm here. If anybody needs to reach out to me, I'm always available. I really do try to answer everybody's questions.
Wow, that's really kind of you. And, immigration, the cool thing is you could come out of nowhere and catapult yourself in front with all the stuff that's happening. My associate's relatively newer attorney. She's a Russian speaker. And so she took on this Ukraine situation, helping a lot of people. And all of a sudden, like, she wrote all this stuff. All these practitioners, 20, 30-year-old practitioners, are calling her and asking her questions. And she became a subject matter expert. Within no time, she's like a top in the field in what she's doing. So it's really easy to catapult yourself by just, hustling, knowing stuff. I mean, she's working day and night right now. She's like, it's probably losing her mind from the travesty of the situation, from all these families calling her. But through that, she's learning all the up-to-date information, helping a lot of people, and making a brand name for herself in a matter of just one crisis like this. So, and it's only been 2 weeks already. She's like, all these really experienced partners are contacting her from other firms, asking her questions. So you can't really do that in a lot of other areas. You got to spend a lot of time paying your dues. You can really do that, but again, cards hustle. You're gonna have to lose sleep at night. That work-life balance, it exists, but your life is immigration, and you're always in the news watching it happening. You're gonna get phone calls, people crying, but it just becomes part of your behavior. And it's like you're part of the community. You're like a really important strategic part of every community there in America. So it's really important player that you are. So many people are gonna, like, it's gonna be one of those things, like, people are gonna meet your children and be like, wow, your mom or your grandparent, they changed my life and stuff. You're that character in people's lives that people talk about.
That's the best. That's the best. When you help somebody and they're that end of that journey, I can't even tell you how lovely that feels. Even this many years later, that just you helped somebody and you almost feel like you're paying it forward. It's a good feeling, and it's a good area because of that.
Thank you so much, Nandini. It was so good speaking with you. Stay on the line. I'm going to end the show, but I just want to talk a few minutes with you afterwards. Everyone, if you want to reach out to her, just do Nandini Nair. Put that in Google, it'll pop up. And check out the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine. Hopefully her associate or somebody will write an article for us and put it in there. So whatever topic, whenever you have a chance. immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com/magazine, issue number 4. Everyone should read it with however long you've been doing this. There's just so much information that colleagues have shared in there. Until next one, have a good one.